Hello Shortcuts, this is video 2 for July 3rd. This is the soul, blues, jazz and funk list. Some folk in here as well. And price list will go out 9 p.m. Eastern time, Sydney time, East Coast of Australia. And if you would like to be on the price list, drop me an email at shortcutsrecordsaus@gmail.com in the channel notes below. All right, I've got a wide and varied and interesting list here, so let's get started. I'm gonna set a quiz question. So if you hang around to the end, this record is by a singer-songwriter who had a run of records from probably late 69 through to 74, 75, which is as good as any run of records by anyone ever. This is her 5th record, and it is most famous because of a song that was included on the record because her record company asked her to write a hit song. And it is incredibly sarcastic and also pretty legendary. So who is that? What is the record and what is the name of the song? So there you go. All right, kicking off, I have to choose one of my all-time favorite Japanese presses. And it is, What's Going On is Marvin Gaye's greatest record. That is without question. But my personal favorite Marvin Gaye record is probably this. Let's Get It On. And this pressing is even harder to find than Marvin Gaye What's Going On Japanese first press. This is the VIP. I'm just going to get you the exact pressing so you can look it up. It is VIP 6012. You'll see it's $80, $90, $100. It's just an astonishingly warm and vibrant pressing of a truly singular record. This record surely would tick the box for being present for the most conceptions of a human beings on the planet. I mean, the second last track on this record, which is called You Sure Love to Ball, is up there with Je T'aime as the most suggestive and erotic songs by a major artist. And to be honest, the whole record is like that. It is so singular in its intent. It is everything about what it means when a man and woman get together. From the title, from the kind of ecstatic pictures that adorn the record. I mean, he was one of the most beautiful men that has ever existed. I have multiple t-shirts of him. He's incredible. And a very flawed and thoughtful and enigmatic man. But he set out to create a record that defined a mood, and he nailed it. He produced it himself. I think he wrote all the songs. He probably played a chunk of the instruments. I don't know. It's something. It's really, really cool. And this pressing is the best I've ever heard it. It's the one I have on my shelf. It's really hard to find. I suspect this might only be the second time I've ever seen it. So there you go. VIP 6012. Look it up. All right. Now this next record is an out there thing. It is called AGARTA. AGHARTA. You can probably see it there. AGARTA. And it is by Miles Davis. AGARTA. Look at that sleeve. Designed by a Japanese artist. This record was released in Japan recorded in Japan, mixed in Japan, the art prints done in Japan. Everything about this record is about Japan. And I'll explain why. And included are some really interesting little inserts. So one is an insert about the Miles Davis discography, and this is a booklet of photos from the time. So this is 1975. So this is after Miles Davis has gone electric. And he has, to a certain extent, left jazz behind. And he is embraced by the rock community off the back of records like the soundtrack to Jack Johnson, or Bitches Brew, or Live Evil, his other live record. And he toured a band to Japan. And he was very ill at the time. He had pneumonia, he had a bleeding ulcer, he was suffering from substance abuse, his body was giving up on him. But he still toured this band, and they played 2 shows in this concert hall in Tokyo. The afternoon show, this one, AGARTA, and the evening show also turned up as a double live LP called Pangea. Now, AGARTA is a mythical city, a subterranean mythical city. The name was suggested by the record company. And so what do you get on this record? Well, firstly, I've spent a bit of time with AGARTA and Pangea, and this is by far the better record. Dark Mages is also recorded in and around this time. But AGARTA is the record that's influence has grown over time. The reason the record came onto my radar, and I've been asking about it, was because I read that it was a big influence on Tom Verlaine, the guitarist, singer, and songwriter for television. You know, one of my favorite bands. And so why is that? Well, there is a lot of seriously funky, incredible guitar playing on this record. The band are phenomenally tight. I can't remember the name of the guitarist off the top of my head, but it is not unusual for there to be a 5-6 minute groove around a riff that you hear Miles Davis call out from the stage. You sometimes hear him playing organ as well. He had a Yamaha on stage with him. Rudy Van Gelder and Ted Macero, who was the mixer and producer for a lot of Miles's records, had this technique where he would cobble together the record from the extended jams that would be in the studio. But the Japanese influence of this particular record from the record company and others was that they wanted that really kind of spacey, almost ambient sections to remain in the record. So what you get are a series of quite long pieces that, when you first listen to it, sound meandering, but then after a while, they're really quite hypnotic, and you can really hear the audience really getting into it. It is not for everyone, I promise you that. But if you like Electric Miles, this is one of the best records I've had on the list all year. It's that good. It would have been my lead record, but it is totally unrecognizable. The tiny little wording in the middle, so singular, so Miles. So and Robert Christgau and the reviewers at the time didn't know what to make of it. It was poorly reviewed. But then after a while, maybe after Miles went back into jazz, there was a revision of this band from kind of 72 to 75, and it is one of Miles's greatest bands, and they really are worth hearing. It's a record that rewards effort, I'd put it like that. All right, now after something so heavy, let's have something a bit lighter. I love this album. I was introduced to this album by Vinyl Me Please, who did a pressing, and that's the pressing I have. It is Celia and Joni. Celia Cruz, Joni Pacheco. Two different generations of kind of Latin salsa music came together in 1974, and they made a series of records together. This is the first and the best. This is a pure fun party record. Every track is special, but if you want to get a sense of it, listen to the opening track, Quimbara. You'll hear her beautiful tone, but it is so playful, and there are little sections of that track that have been sampled in many different places, and you'll get a sense of it. I think this is the Japanese first press. I'll need to check when I do my cleaning and re-sleeving and all that stuff. But it's a wonderful thing. Yeah, highly, highly recommended. All right, now these two records that I'm about to show you now, oh, my screen has gone off. Let me fix that. Are of a piece. And what I mean is that when these two records were released within a few months of each other in 1954, they were released as 10 inches, a 10-inch record on the Blue Note label. And this is what it looked like. And what Blue Note did, this is the Japanese Blue Note. I don't know whether they're a different cohort, I'm not quite sure. They released a series of 10-inch records from that era where they replicated everything. The sleeve, the listening notes, the label, even the little lip on the vinyl. And in my box are Volume 1 and Volume 2, unplayed, mint, beautiful things, not on Discogs. When you look this up, Volume 1, and I looked at Volume 2, but I can't remember it off the top of my head, so I'll talk about Volume 1. The original 10-inch of this in mint condition will set you back probably somewhere between $500 and $700. So someone needs to sit down and put these records into Discogs. But they're absolutely beautiful. A full essay with the history of the record. So to give you a sense of who's in this band, look. Art Blakey, Clifford Brown, Lou Donaldson, Horace Silver, Curly Russell. One of the greatest bands ever assembled, really. Now, Clifford Brown was an up-and-coming trumpeter, and there's a wonderful intro to the whole thing that is, it's just this lady with spectacular voice introducing the band. Anyway, it's brilliant, and yeah, I don't know if there's someone who's into these 10 inches, but I just thought, I know there's at least one of you out there. I know one of my good friends had made from this, but there might be more. But that is beautiful things. Not on Discogs. I don't know what to say. There are not many of those around, I don't think. All right. Now, what about this? Parliament Live. The only official live Parliament album. The P-Funk Earth Tour. Oh, I think, was it 76 or 77? I know that this is the tour where they toured Mothership Connection and I think the Brides of Funkenstein. And it's wonderful. Now, what's really cool about this, you can see the little clip here. So that's a clue that this is an imported version that went into Japan. But this is the US first press. You can see the Casablanca labels from the records. They're all in fantastic condition. The records play amazing. I played side one earlier. But it also includes, and I didn't even know this existed, the poster from the time. Look at that. How cool is that? There is George Clinton in all of his P-Funk glory. Just an amazing thing. One of the best posters I've ever seen. So that was a very pleasant surprise when I opened the packaging. The classic Casablanca labels. A beautiful, beautiful thing. All right, now we've got 3 blues records, and I'm going to kick off. Now, for those of you who've been fans of my channel for a while will know I did a blues list a while ago of my 5 favorite blues albums of all time. And this came in number 2, behind oh gosh, can't remember the name of it now, but it's the Colorado record by Otis Spann. But this is Indianola, Mississippi Seeds by B.B. King. This is my second favorite blues album of all time. This is the Japanese first press gatefold, and this is a pretty special copy. So that's the OB from the original release, but this is the special OB that they released when they did a very short rerun of the record when B.B. King toured. So this says special release to commemorate B.B. King's tour. So when he toured Japan, which I think was in early 72, I think. I've been trying to find out if there were any reviews around the time. That's when this was released. Now, for those of you who aren't aware of this record, I go into it in depth on the blues review or the blues video that I did, so you can find it on the channel. But he plays, it's produced by Ed Shimmick, and it's got these incredible strings, and it's very dramatic. But it also has piano playing from Leon Russell, and most importantly, from Carole King. And she is spectacular on this album. Absolutely spectacular. There are songs on this record that will go into your playlist of greatest songs of all time. Track 2 of side 1, You're Still My Woman, which features, I don't know, one of the greatest string accompaniments to a blues song that there's ever been. And then my personal favorite track on the album, which is track 2 of side 2, which is called Chains and Things, which is his reflection on waking up in early 70s USA, late 60s USA, and realizing that he's a black man, he doesn't have the same rights as everyone else, and he wears these chains and things. Now, there's crescendos in the record where the guitar and the orchestration kind of line up, and there's a very obvious place where B.B. King makes a clanging wrong note, and the orchestra responds by creating a unique motif that brings them back to the melody. And B.B. King listened to that and said, I want that, I'm keeping it. It's an amazing thing. It's worth price of entry alone. It's that good. All right, now there's 2 other really cool blues records in the list. Otis Rush's, this one's a good one. So Otis Rush, he played guitar left-handed, so he has a very unique style, great tenor voice. That's a compilation of a lot of his best stuff. But this is wonderful. This album is growing in my list. It's creeping up my list of favorite blues albums of all time. Every time I listen to it, I like it more and more. Buddy Guy, just astonishing guitarist, but pair him with the piano of Memphis Slim when they were touring Europe with the Rolling Stones. So you get that really ragged Rolling Stones energy with these beautiful blues songs, great voices. If you don't know it, seek it out, give it a listen. It's on the Blue Star label. It's so good. Southside Reunion, Memphis Slim and Buddy Guy. All right, I've still got some jazz, and then I've still got to answer the quiz question. All right, Also, those of you who've been around for a while will know I love female soul from the 70s. So, you know, you know, Millie Jackson and stuff like that. But how about this? This is "Take Me With You" by Honeycomb, an all-female funk kind of soul group from the early 70s. I love this label. I'm getting more and more records. Anytime I see this label, I buy it now. They're called Hot Wax. I think this is a US press. I need to double. No, this is Peavine. This is a Japanese press. Just super soulful, velvety, golden funk soul from the early 70s. I think this is their debut album. And, you know, you're talking about songwriters from like Dozier Holland, from that whole era, giving them songs to sing. And they do covers of Son of a Preacher Man and Aquarius. It's so good. It's just beautiful. I already mentioned Art Blakey earlier, but I want to talk about this record as well, because this turned up in the list, and I also this is pretty much mint as well. I can't see any evidence that this has ever been played. Holiday for Skins, Art Blakey. This is Art Blakey, Philly Joe Jones, Art Taylor, Ray Barretto, and a whole bunch of others on African percussion. Donald Byrd on trumpet, Ray Bryant on piano, and Wendell Marshall on bass. And what I love about the listening notes on this one: chanting by Art Blakey, Philly Joe Jones, Sabu Martinez, Austin Cromer, and Hal Rashid. This was recorded around about the same time as Moanin', which is my favourite Art Blakey record. But this record is entirely African percussion-based hard bop jazz. And so there were 2 volumes, and in my box there was volume 1 and volume 2. They're both equally well regarded. I've kept one, this is the other. If you are into that whole era of African percussion influenced hard bop that Art Blakey really pioneered, then this Japanese press is spectacular. All right, 3 more records to go. Hey There by The Three Sounds. I'm starting to get some Three Sounds records now. They've been really hard to find. And this is a really beautiful copy as well. If you like The Three Sounds, then that's a really nice addition to the catalogue. All right, now I had Melting Pot by Booker T last week. Now I've got Booker T's The Best Of. One of just a superb compilation. If you don't have this in your locker, well worth seeking out. And this is the Atlantic Japanese press. Earlier, I asked female singer-songwriter, classic run of records, a very singular person, and in the midst of a run of records that included Blue and Court and Spark and The Hissing of Summer Lawn, she also recorded this, For the Roses. This is the Japanese first press. What's beautiful about the Japanese first press is that it has an internal booklet with some paintings that I think are actually by Joni Mitchell. In fact, she signs this one. You can see her there signing. It also has this photograph of a naked Joni Mitchell about to jump off the rocks for a swim. And then it includes the lyrics and various other things. And I asked the question, well, what was the name? So obviously the artist was Joni Mitchell. The song, or the album, For the Roses, which is her 5th record in between Blue and Court and Spark. And the record company asked her to write a hit song. And the song she wrote is You Turn Me On, I'm a Radio. Full of sarcasm. What's even better, it actually became a hit. Good on you, Joni. What a legend. There you have it, the soul, funk, blues and jazz list that will go out on 9 p.m. Price list will go out 9 p.m. on Wednesday evening, Sydney time. If you want to be on the list, Shortcuts Records, AUS@gmail.com. As always, subscribe, leave a comment, like, whatever it is that you do. I like to know there's people out there, and I hope you find that interesting. All right, thanks everyone, and see you Wednesday. Bye.